Now, celibacy is a common theme on this channel. I can honestly say now that you wouldn't be watching this if it weren't for celibacy and abstinence, which for me is essentially not only retaining the sexual energy, but also transmuting it and redirecting it intentionally, consciously, with the intention of transferring that energy to all of humanity. Because with celibacy, as mentioned in the title, there's automatically integrity. And with integrity, there's a deep sense of responsibility, which goes hand in hand with love. They're all synonymous. An automatic consequence of committing to abstinence. And so this video serves as an expression of semen retention with the intention, as just mentioned, of transferring, transmuting this energy, uplifting humanity. How so? I don't know. I don't have to know. I don't have to know the how. I simply know the reason, the intention, the why. And this reason is synonymous with lovingness. Reason and love don't have to be separate from each other, because actually they go together. As man thinketh in his heart, so he is. And so it is. So this is. Because through celibacy, again, there's automatically integrity. And therefore, we're at a higher level, a different domain, a different frequency. Because we retain this energy and thus level up in energy, which is synonymous with our frequency. And as we level up in frequency, we see things very clearly. Let's use this analogy. There's a responsibility because everything is seen as being a part of your very own self. There's no separation between you and anything else. The mind, one's personal opinions and positions. The mind, the ego, likes to argue and debate and overthink. Therefore, it doesn't relate. Whereas when one operates from love and reason at the same time, not just the mind, but when these are in balance and harmonious within one's inner experience and finds expression to share it. Because with love, there's a natural desire to share. When reason and love are in proper balance, it seeks to express and share itself, because love wants to include everything as a part of itself. In fact, it doesn't want to, it actually is that now. It feels that now. And therefore, love doesn't have to be right. There's no want to be right or need to be right. Because love picks no fights. It doesn't have to defend or prove itself, because it already is the truth. There's no reliance or dependence on externalities, on historical authorities. Of course, these things may be used as a reference within a certain context for clarification and explanation, as an expression of one's level of consciousness and frequency. But there's no reliance on these things inwardly. They serve as an expression outwardly so that the listener can receive the energy within the context of one's inner experience that, again, they wish to share. Think of it this way. How in war, that comrades and soldiers are willing to take a bullet for one another. Willing to do things that are crazy, that seem absolutely senseless. Willing to turn their back and take some bullets, turn their back on the enemy, and get shot up. Doesn't make sense, right? But it's because it's done out of love. Not even bravery or courage. It's done from true brotherly love, which says, hey, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to lay down my life for this purpose, for this lovingness that is within my heart, that includes you as a part of myself, that doesn't identify with this body, because love extends and expands way beyond itself. Understanding that, hey, I have a physicality, but I'm not this. And actually, all of humanity is an expression of the one body, the body of Christ. Again, I use this within a certain context, this word, but there's no reliance on Jesus or the Bible or Buddha, Krishna, Allah. I'm willing to lay down my life for these seemingly external authorities, but really, fundamentally, it comes from the same place within, a sense of love. So the external figure really doesn't matter. They're simply symbolic. They're an embodiment of a higher level of energy and frequency. And thus they live and serve as an example of that in the flesh. But they don't identify with it. They don't identify with the body. Because they see themselves really as all of humanity. And thus operate from a certain sanctity. Because within this context, love is global and total. It's not limited like reason and logic. And the mind doesn't have to be limited. And it's not when it's motivated and empowered by love. Because with love, you're willing to do things that you'd never be willing to do otherwise. Like, again, turn your back on the enemy. Take some bullets, take some hits. Willing to stand in front of a punch from a haymaker. Willing to do anything for your eternal maker, for our creator. Because you don't see the so-called other as being separate from your very own self, but rather as an extension, an expression of yourself, of the self-same energy that is animating all of humanity simultaneously as a manifestation of divinity. Everything in creation, in physical existence, is God manifest now. And therefore, whatever you wish, you don't have to seek it, because you already are it. Now, creation is finished. you become this as an automatic consequence of abstinence, as a result of cherishing the eternal energy, the spiritual energy, which animates all of humanity. The butterfly effect, simply with this intent. Imagine the ripple effect that it has, how it uplifts. Simply by goodwill. Not as a do-gooder, not as somebody who thinks themselves is better than others. 11-11. Because it's oftentimes the do-gooders, the people that want to be good and perceived as doing good in the world. It's those people that get in the way of things, the natural process, and unfolding of life. But when somebody isn't aware of themselves as being and doing good, they're just that naturally, then again, automatically, there's integrity. Not because one desires to be integrous, but because it's a natural consequence of one's harmonious existence. To live in accordance with divine providence, the will of a higher intelligence, that which is always with us and is guiding us throughout every step along the journey. Through the seeming ups and downs, the flux, this higher intelligence carries us to our ultimate destination. And again, creation is finished. It's here now. We already are that. But part of the fun is seeking it. There's a certain joy in seeking and desiring something higher, something beyond yourself, something that extends and expands beyond a personal self. And so I share this now. Looping back to the beginning of the video. You don't have to worry about how. Just know your why, know your purpose. And everything will naturally and automatically manifest as synchronicity reveals itself to you, expressed in 3D reality. There's only so many things that can be said verbally. But my hope and wish is to transmit this energy to you electronically, so that you can feel it and embody it and imbibe it internally. As even though I'm not technically with you personally, actually I am. even though the body isn't within your immediate environment. Simply by watching this and hearing this, you too can realize the same inner presence which animates this. God bless. See you in the next. Perhaps. Who knows? I live for today, right now.